Soho, we have a problem. That is the topic of today's video. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. And if you're interested in learning about whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America, visit areyoontracktogetin.com. Again, that's areyoontracktogetin.com, at which you will complete a free 3-minute assessment. Your results will be emailed to you right away, and they will help you clarify whether or not you are or your student is on track for selective college admission in the United States of America. First, let's clear something up. It's Houston Street. It is not Houston Street. And of course, Houston Street is an important street in New York City, in Manhattan in particular, because it marks the entry point of Soho. And Soho is where you will find a great many NYU undergraduates. And we are talking today in this video about NYU because we have a problem at NYU. And that problem is that over the weekend, NYU was apparently hacked or purportedly hacked by an individual who has apparently in the past hacked University of Minnesota. This time, the individual who hacked or purported to hack NYU took over nyu.edu and posted on that URL for over 2 hours over the weekend what it claims to be admissions data from the class of 2028. And here we go. This is what it looked like on the nyu.edu website on Saturday morning, the 22nd of March, 2025, for over 2 hours. And it's showing what students' average SAT scores apparently or purportedly were broken down by students admitted and by race. And what you see here is also ACT scores split up by race for individuals accepted for fall 2024. You also see NYU admitted GPA averages split up by race for those admitted in the fall of 2024 or for the fall of 2024. And also on this sort of hack that took over nyu.edu, there was a link to, two links actually, to the full data set from which these charts were built. And this is fascinating if true, big if true, as they used to say, or they still may say. And apparently this data came from NYU's SIS campus database in their data warehouse. And it is not making NYU look very good because it is gigabytes worth of admissions data or purported admissions data that goes back decades. But again, the big headline is what the hacker or the exposer, or whatever you want to call this person, posted on nyu.edu. And that is what you are seeing right now on your screen. What it shows is that, if true, the average admitted SAT score for Asian applicants was 1485. The average accepted students who were white that were accepted were, again, 1428. Hispanic, the average was 1355 on the SAT, and Black, the average was 1289. And what we see with the ACT are similar breakdowns. We have a 32.94 as the average admitted ACT score for Asian admitted students, 31.14 for admitted white students to NYU in the class of 2028, 29.51 was the average ACT for admitted Hispanic students, and 27.78 was the average ACT for admitted Black students to NYU's class of 2028. And then also you see GPA, which I, of course, always say is a joke because these days, American schools in particular just give out A's like candy, whether they're public schools, private schools, high-performing schools, low-performing schools. But even here you see a breakdown where the white students actually, in this case, had the highest average GPA, those accepted to NYU, 3.66, Asian 3.61, Hispanic 3.57, and Black 3.48. If it is true that NYU has such a differentiation between the average profile based off of race for scores on the ACT, SAT, and GPAs of accepted students, then NYU is in big trouble with the Department of Justice. The current president of the United States has a son who is attending NYU. So it will be very, very interesting, to say the least, to find out what the response is from the current presidential administration in the United States, if any response is forthcoming, about what we see here. But if there was no presidential son at NYU, and this was, let's say, happening in Morningside Heights in Manhattan, as opposed to around Washington Square Park or Union Square, I think we would have an immediate response by the President of the United States and his administration. But right now, it's still early. This has just been out for a couple days now, and there is no official response yet from the current administration in the United States of America. And there's very little reported about this purported hack in the mainstream media in the United States. I'll just pick one pull quote from the Washington Square News, which is NYU's independent student newspaper, from their report on this matter. It's the last paragraph of their initial report on this purported hack. Quote, in July 2023, NYU issued a statement condemning the Supreme Court's affirmative action ruling as, quote, a step backwards, end quote. Admissions data released last October showed a significant drop in historically underrepresented minority groups, namely students who identify as Black, Hispanic, Native American, and Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander, with Black student enrollment falling to 4% from 7%, and Latino student enrollment falling to 10% from 15%. In a corresponding statement, NYU President Linda Mills said the changes were not unanticipated, but that the university will, quote, continue to innovate on, end quote. Now that quote would make one think that this data hack is actually real, because what it sort of says there is that NYU is going to soldier on. They're going to do what they can do to make things the way they want to make them demographically. And it looks like this data might be corroborating that effort. Sometimes the most obvious explanation is, in fact, the actual explanation. NYU could be in a very tight bind because of what happened over the weekend for a number of reasons, but most urgently for our interests and our matters here, for the fact that they appear to be performing ongoing discrimination based off of race and ethnicity, and that could get them into a lot of legal trouble. As we wrap things up, I want to remind you that you don't have to settle for the free videos alone. As you navigate the college admissions process, get the focused and personalized coaching and expertise you need to achieve your goals. My Smart Sessions meet you where you are in order to take you where you want to go. Meanwhile, if you want proactive support throughout the college application process and want to collaborate with a dedicated expert to submit applications that are simply meticulous, reserve your preferred Simply Meticulous experience as soon as possible. Space is limited due to the time and attention to detail required to pull off these extraordinary coaching experiences. No matter your distinctive objectives, you can achieve them. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, visit my website, which is collegemeister.com. And when you've finished your Common App and want to know if it's as strong as possible and whether or not in its current condition your chances of admission are impressive, inconclusive, or inadequate, you need my pre-read. Getting my pre-read now means having me review your entire application, just like an admissions officer or admissions committee will review it later, and receiving by email no later than the time you reserve a comprehensive report highlighting what's working and what's not on your full Common App and one Common App supplement. If you've yet to submit your Common App, my pre-read may motivate you to make adjustments to it before your deadline. If you've already submitted your Common App, my pre-read will prepare you for what I deem to be your likely admissions outcome at the institution in question. To purchase my pre-read now, go to mypreread.com. Again, that's mypreread.com. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. As mentioned previously, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process, visit my website, which is collegemeister.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free throughout the entire college admissions process.